Grammy Award, NAACP Award, Soul Train Music Award. I'm sure there's other awards I've left out. Ladies and gentlemen, Maxwell.
Hello, everybody.
I just like saying that, Maxwell. So we're going to be cool together, right?
Man, we both got sunglasses, as you can see from there's a stream going on somewhere.
Yeah. So big concert coming up this Saturday night.
Yeah.
Maxwell, Microsoft Theater. Tickets still available at axs.com. Maxwell with Marsha and Brocious. Man, oh man. Are you excited about this Saturday night?
Yeah, man. I mean, LA is always such an incredible place to play because a lot of your friends, people in the industry, you see them in the audience. It's kind of a little bit freaky because you're like, whoa, that's, that person. But I'm just hyped because, we just wanted to do, an intimate run. I haven't been in these theaters in a long time because of all of you, because of the listeners.
Okay.
I've been able to sort of expand and play bigger places, but I wanted to, go back and reconnect with the very first fans, the very first supporters.
Back in the day.
Yeah. So it's been interesting to go to all those buildings and to see the same dressing room that maybe I saw when I was 25, 27. Right. And to, show it that kind of respect.
Coming as far as you have in your career, and especially where you grew up in Brooklyn, do you sometimes pinch yourself and say, man, is this really happening? Because LA loves you. The whole world loves you, loves your music.
I mean, obviously I take my breaks and I get a lot of flack for how long I take.
Because they love you, man. They want to see you. But I understand what's going on.
But I think when you take so much time away, you really get back to this place where you don't connect with yourself as being what you do musically. I mean, the music is the music.
Of course.
I'm a human being. I make my mistakes just like everybody else. I try to get myself back grounded with, just the fact that I'm just a regular black guy, and, you guys made the dream come true. The listeners are so loyal and they allow me to experiment. They allow me to, push past what they expect me to do.
Of course.
And that's what's so incredible about our relationship.
Your new project entitled Shame with the new single Shame, same title. How excited are you about this project, man?
I mean, I'm excited because it feels...
Seems like you're pushing the envelope on this.
Yeah,
Can I say that?
You know me. I mean, on a visual level, it's definitely a love letter to black women. Black women aren't necessarily seen as the primary thing in terms of beauty, even though everybody wants to have those lips and to have that this and to have that. But they're not always the first ones, and to be considered and to be respected in terms of the media. So the video basically directed by Gerard Bush and Christopher Renz, who did Kill Jay-Z, and also Normani, and they're just amazing directors. They came up with that concept.
Okay.
I wrote the song with Hot David, with additional production by Travis Sales, and on a musical level, it speaks on the social media world and just how people are shamed for being fat, people are shamed for this, people are shamed for that. How you have to really use your better judgment when you're looking at people through the lens of social media, because sometimes you think that the person wrote something and they've been hacked, or it's not even their actual account. Wow. And so there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on. And so I just wanted to touch on connecting with people in that way, because I feel like it's an epidemic that a lot of people are experiencing. Right.
You're the product of Haitian and Puerto Rican heritage. I did not.
Yeah.
I did not know that about you.
Well, my whole thing is about, slowly unveiling who I am to people over the course of many years. There's a lot of things that I feel like in the beginning I wanted to give people a sense of the music.
Okay.
I wasn't on the cover of my first album.
Okay.
I feel like if you're an open book, then you're a book that's closed, and then they move on to another book. So if people have a reason to come back to you.
You figure that out, right?
Exactly.
Right.
When you give all of it too soon, and you do too much too soon, then you can be overexposed, and that's always been the case. So a lot of it is sometimes misconstrued by people for whatever reason it is, but I think we're all like evolving individuals.
Of
I think
course,
that everybody
every
has
day.
something that, you learn about them. And I just hope that, I am that kind of person to people.
Being that your mom was Haitian, your dad Puerto Rican, growing up in Brooklyn, with this rich heritage you got.
Yeah.
What was that like? Because I hear some good things about Brooklyn. I hear some bad things about Brooklyn. It's almost like South Central out here. You hear good things about South Central, bad things about South Central, but it's home.
Right, it's home.
So it's not necessarily a hood or a borough, but it's
all I knew. It's all I knew. And, being a child, of immigrants, with different cultural experiences, wanting to be, part of my neighborhood in Brooklyn.
Right.
The push and pull, the struggle between those two things was fascinating. I just went to Florida and did a show, and then I was talking to a lot of people. There's a lot of Haitians who are in Florida. And I was like, do you remember when growing up was it? And they were just like, tell it, talk about it, talk about it. But I look at like the people, immigrants in general who come into the country and who just want to protect their children and who see
a better life.
Yeah. But at the same time, they're living in neighborhoods that aren't the most safe.
Right.
And so they do what they can to protect their kids. So I'm 45 now, so I have a different perspective on what that was. I mean, it was very restrictive for me in the beginning.
Okay.
But at the same time, it was the thing that I needed to go through to make me do what I do now. So I'm grateful to both sides of the aisle, so to speak. Islands, meaning, but particularly Haiti, because, I do a lot of charity stuff. I've always done stuff for Haiti before. I don't necessarily promote it because I don't feel like I should use what I do that's good shouldn't be a part of a publicity thing. It's like I don't tell everybody that I'm giving money to if I walk down the street. I mean, it's not, I'm not going to do a selfie with the homeless guy and be like, look what I just did, y'all.
Yeah.
So I just keep a lot of the stuff that I do to myself, and eventually, over the years, people started to figure out that I'd been doing this work, and then they just kept coming around me to continue the work, know.
If you just joined us, we're talking to the talented Maxwell. Got this concert coming up this Saturday night, Microsoft Theater with Marsha and Brochus. Tickets are still available at AXS.com. Here's one thing I want to ask you. I'm going through your bio, right? A lot of stuff I know about you already.
Right.
Some stuff I don't. And this jumped out at me, man. So I want you to describe this. This came from the 80s, okay?
Right.
So describe the Jerry curl. Wait. Describe the Jerry curl. So what is that? I got a feeling I know what it is, but when I read that, I'm like, oh, this cat.
Well, because when I started, when we were working on Urban Hang Suite, I had the pleasure of working with Wawa Watson, rest his soul. He just recently passed away, so I just want to shout him out and his family. And his legacy, he was the first guitar player like that you hear on Let's Get It On.
Right.
Papa was a Rolling Stone,
man.
all
I
the
remember.
Motown stuff.
Yeah.
I was just obsessed with that music as a kid. And I think hip hop had a lot to do with it as well, because hip hop was sampling James Brown. So I think the generation was really clear on the history of what they had come from, and they just wanted to add their spin on it. So what I call the Jerry Curl Soul era is, oh man, I don't want to call people out, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know
it's actually, a lot of it was in LA, you know what I mean, at the time.
Yeah.
But it was just like, those party records that you would play at the cookout, and that's why Urban Hang Suite sounds like as it does. It's got, Ascension, Don't Ever Wonder. I was very clear on the vision of what I wanted to do. Took a minute for everybody else to catch up a little bit, because, I was shelved for about a year before the album, got to you. And this is the beauty of radio and the audience, is that they tell you, they are truly the people who tell you what's up. You just brought up Shame, and Shame is, the first song off of the conclusion of the Black Summer's Night trilogy. And like I did with Pretty Wings in 2008. No one had heard the song.
Right.
So I went on the road and I started playing Pretty Wings and Bad Habits, songs that no one knew.
Yeah.
Because I always feel like it's best to test it out to the people who have already been there for you.
Yeah, sure.
Than to go through all the weird marketing BS that people do to kind of get their records to be number one or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful that I have that kind of opportunity.
Was there a lot of music in your house growing up?
Yeah, there was a lot of music. There was a lot of country music. There was a lot of Christian music. There was a lot of Haitian music. There was definitely Puerto Rican music. There was just like, there was music because the block was basically every island, So, this area would be here and that area would be doing this. And,
right. So you got Little Italy somewhere around there.
Yeah, man. I mean, when I go back to Brooklyn, the area that I grew up in, it's not even the same. It's totally different, A lot of people have moved in there and renovated the place. It doesn't even look like what I knew. But
usually that happens.
Yeah.
You go back and it's like, wow, man, this is different.
Yeah. But time is time and,
of course.
And progress is progress.
Yeah.
And, but so, there was a lot of music, but I really connected deeply with R&B music.
Okay.
It was just, I remember getting a radio. My first gift from my grandmother, God rest her soul, was a harmonica. Well, the first one was a Bible, which I still have. And the second thing was a harmonica. And I don't think she ever knew. But, sometimes family, they just kind of know something about what you might be before you know what you're going to be.
Yeah.
And so I got this harmonica. And, of course, I was obsessed with Stevie Wonder. And I saw that he was playing it. And then I got a radio. And I remember that was probably the most precious thing I've ever had because I would hear voices like yourself coming out of these speakers. Yeah. And then I would be exposed to everything, And this is pre-hip-hop because hip-hop at the time would only be played during the weekends.
It's like a whole world in this little box.
The entire world, Asti Spumante commercials. I remember it all. Yeah. But I remember listening to it without the understanding that I could do it. I was just in awe of what it was and what it did to bring the community together and how it made really tough times for African Americans a little bit easier.
Right.
Something about gospel, soul, and R&B has a way of it's a sage that kind of gets us to feel like, it's tough out there. But when these songs come on, I can just pull away from all of that, and then get back to the battle.
Now, with all the ladies that just go crazy, I've been at some of your concerts, man, and you come walking out clean, all right? And ladies just, Maxwell. I'm like,
it wasn't like that.
I know, but see, here's what I'm saying, and see, I'm getting to that. So with all the ladies going crazy, the minute you take the stage, would not think that back in the day you were ridiculed by classmates for being shy.
Yeah. Dressing weird.
Dressing weird, being awkward. Both of us a little tall, so we get called, you long and lanky. Mm-hmm. Women today would not believe that about this suave, very talented, very, very cool, very deep type artist.
I mean, I think that's usually the case for a lot of the people that I've looked at. Like, when I look at, Marvin, and I mean, he's really a great inspiration. When I look at someone like Prince, who is just, I mean, I wouldn't be making music if he didn't start making music.
Well, at one time, they called you the next Prince.
I mean, I would hear things like that.
Did that put pressure on you?
I just... there's no way that there could be another Prince. So I'm 100 clear about the fact that could never be the case.
So you were basically like, I received a compliment, but I'm going to keep doing my groove over here. I'm not going to try to be that because that's not who I am.
Well, not really just that. It's just pure respect to the fact that when you think about someone like him and the just the courage that it took for him to be who he was, come from Minneapolis, a place where most people did not think any music came from, to dress and to look as he wanted to and to still be able to have fans that were people of color. Yeah. I mean, that is wow.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, when I would hear these things, especially in the beginning, because when you think about, you know, it took Prince, or it took the world to know Prince as we know Prince, 4 albums.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
even though I knew For You, and of course I bought all this stuff after. I still got every vinyl of his. I got every Marvin Gaye vinyl, Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a music enthusiast.
Yeah.
But I can see the line that is connected between, you know, Prince and Little Richard and Jimi Hendrix, and this is the thing that I try to express to people, is that the wheel will never be reinvented.
Yeah.
We're all just, you know, vessels that are passing this tradition on and on and on. You know, there's going to be another version of whatever I'm supposed to be, and I'm a supporter of that version. I don't believe in this whole idea that there's only one artist that can be the best, because I feel like it divides us, and I feel like it's also very specifically against what I saw at Motown. Because back in those days, you know, and I was talking to Miss Knight, Miss Gladys Knight. She was like, you know, we would just all get together and make records.
Right.
We weren't trying to be better than each other. We weren't trying to be this. We weren't trying to be that. We were just so happy that we got to make music and that we could actually collaborate with each other and push each other forward. And I think that's the essence that we need to kind of move forward with. And I feel like social media has this terrible way of wanting to compare people and this and make them this, and this one's the best, and this one. Look, we're all just making music. We're really not doing anything that special. We're not breaking into a fire building to save children. We're not, you know, doing brain surgery on somebody who might be losing their life. I mean, like we need to get a better perspective on like what it is that we do. We make music. It's cool, but it's not
right.
It's not you know what our ancestors did to make us free.
But you know what? That's a good point that you made. But at the same time, music, especially music like yours, I mean, it hits a certain. I guess it just hits a certain nerve. Like when I heard Shame, that's a new single off the new project. I'm like, man, this cat really came with it. Because a lot of times I just sit there and I listen to the lyric. I listen to what that artist is saying. So I had checked that out. I'm like, Max is kind of pushing the envelope on this. Okay, I'm digging this. If you just joined us, we're talking to Maxwell. He's got a great show coming up, Microsoft Theater, which is coming up this Saturday night. Special guest Marsha Ambrosius. You and Marsha Ambrosius, who put that together? That's like a perfect night, man.
I mean, I've known her for a while.
Are you serious?
I saw her. Where did I meet her? I saw her on the road one time. And then we had another opportunity during Essence where I saw her. Yeah. And I've loved her music and loved her voice, and the fact that she wrote Butterflies and gave it to Michael Jackson. I mean, you know, talk about humility. Because to me, that's the sexiest thing. Is, you know, people who have reason to have ego, but choose to be humble. And for her to have her own song and know that it's going to be a hit. And then to have the great Michael Jackson go, this is so amazing. Can I please sing this? And in the same way that Leon Ware did for I Want You, God rest his soul. Because we co-wrote something together. You know, Marvin had heard I Want You and was like, can I please have this? And Leon was like, I mean, I'm an artist too. And so there's something about her and that sort of beauty that I kind of was like, wow. And so all the stars aligned. She had an album out. I had, you know, this single that I was about to prepare to release. And then it came together. And she's such an amazing performer. And what people don't realize is she's a mother as well. So she's with her husband. She's with her mother. You know, they're traveling through these rural areas, going through, you know, you were in Augusta, Georgia, we're in Little Rock, where, you know, it's not like the major, you know, spots. But I did that on purpose. Because I don't feel like I should always tour for the sake of the most bang for my buck kind of thing. You know, I like to go to places that people don't go to because truly those are your strongest fans. You know, I don't like the word fans, but supporters. And when they see that you actually are in Jacksonville and you're in Jackson, Mississippi, And, you know, you could go to like Atlanta and be there, but then you're in, it's just very important to kind of show love to those areas that seldom people, you know, are walking through.
Well, you have a very dedicated, very loyal audience. And this is my first time talking to you. This is my first time interviewing. In fact, this is my first time meeting you.
I mean, I've heard your voice.
Well, now I'm really flattered. You know, Maxwell heard me on the radio, Mama.
I mean, it's KJLH. I mean, it's where you get your R&B. It's like
but what I'm saying is like I could sit here and I could talk to you all day. It's like the minute you walked in, it's like, okay, yeah, we cool. All right, we got this. This is going to be a fun time.
Man.
We're going to wrap up here in a minute. Are there certain songs that you do that reminds you of a certain situation in your life or a certain person in your life? And because what I'm getting to, there was some stuff on the new project, but then I go back and I'm like, till the cops come knocking. What was that about?
I know.
What was it about?
I mean, come on. You know what it was about.
I just wanted to know if I was on the same groove.
You're right on the same groove.
Wow.
You're right on the same. I mean, it's you know, it's interesting though, because it's like Marvin definitely inspired that record. I mean, I was listening to him over and over again.
Right.
And you just wanted to talk about lovemaking that's so powerful, so amazing, that people are concerned that they're going to call the police. And that, you know, it's just my way of doing it. But it's funny because a lot of people are like, what is this about? And that's always the case with singles with me. It's like, what is he talking about? What's the story? But I feel like, you know, I have so much respect for the listener. You know, we live in a very marketable market, this label that. Yeah. But we must remember as African Americans and people of color from wherever black is black is black, in my opinion. You know, Marsha, you know, his mom's from Liverpool, you know, England, but she's what it is. It is what it is.
Right.
That we must remember how multifaceted we are. Yeah, we have Jimi Hendrix, we have Charlie Pride, we have Chuck Berry, we have obviously Prince, we have Michael, we have, I mean, we're not just one thing, you know, we can always be so many different things. And you look at the new artists, and he's not necessarily new, but, you know, he's new as a vocalist and as a rapper, Childish Gambino. Right. His latest project, like, or even the latest and the one before, the way that he paid ode to the funk era. Yeah. And it shows you just how free we were, you know? Like, you know, we were so much more than the labels and the boxes that people put us in. And I feel like what I'm so grateful about to everyone who listens to what I do and to music like what I do is that you guys are giving the next generation the freedom to expand and to broaden and to have different topics. And we can have trap, and we can have trap soul, and yes, we can have hip hop, but we are other things too. We can have our classical pianists, African American women and violinists, and we can have our opera singers who are black. We don't all have to, no disrespect to rap, we don't all have to rap to be black out here. You know? And so that's what I'm appreciative about to listeners, is that I get, if with my success and with the success of Childish Gambino and various artists like Lauryn Hill and even Sade, who's like from London, you know, who just makes what she makes, but it touches everybody's soul, you know? And that's, I think that's what we're trying to get back.
My special in studio guest this afternoon has been Maxwell. And I was kind of nervous when they told me, hey, you know, you're going to do an interview with Maxwell. What? Okay.
I'm nice, man.
But you know, no, you're real cool. But I'm just saying, you know, from my perspective, I've listened to your music ever since the Ascension days, Urban Hang Suite, all of that. A little something. You always got to say it like that, right?
Exactly. That's why I was written that way.
That's written that way. So you don't miss. We're not a little something. That's not going to work. But it is my pleasure to have you here, man. And we're going to be hosting your show Coming up this Saturday night, Maxwell, special guest, Marsha and Broch's Microsoft Theater. As I said before, tickets are still available. Got to get that in there at AXS.com. Plus, we got another pair of tickets that we're going to be giving away. So, my friend, proud of you, man.
Thank you.
God bless you in everything that you put your hands to.
And I see that you voted.
Yes, I did.
I'm an absentee ballot, so
that's cool.
I can't rep the sticker vibe right now, but I did my thing. But I just want to say to everyone, I don't know when this is going to air, but thank you to all the people who went out for the midterms, particularly the people in Georgia and in Florida. Yeah. Thank you for using your right and respecting your ancestors to use your voice to vote and to make America the way you believe it should be.
Well heard, my friend. Well heard. Ladies and gentlemen, Maxwell.